Michigan, the heartland of American industry, home to the auto giants, the Great Lakes, and some of the most influential families you've never heard of. Behind the skyline of Detroit and the calm of Grand Rapids lies a truth few talk about. A handful of billionaire families quietly run Michigan's economy. They don't flaunt it. They don't chase headlines, yet their fingerprints are on everything from the cars you drive to the buildings you work in, the hospitals you visit, and even the teams you cheer for. In this series, we'll uncover the powerful dynasties that shaped Michigan, the secret alliances, the business empires, and the generational wealth that drives billions through the state each year. This isn't just a story about money, it's a story about control, legacy, and vision. Because while politicians come and go, these families, they've quietly owned Michigan for decades. When you hear Ford, you think cars. But the Ford family is more than just the founders of an iconic automotive brand. They are a dynasty that has shaped Michigan's economy for over a century. Henry Ford didn't just build cars, he built a machine for wealth and influence that continues to this day. The family's fortune isn't confined to the assembly line. Through holding companies, charitable foundations, and strategic investments, the Fords have stakes in real estate, finance, media, and tech across Michigan. Their philanthropic arm, the Ford Foundation, steers billions into social programs and initiatives, subtly shaping policy and public life. Even today, family members sit on boards, influence auto innovation, and quietly guide local political agendas. Their reach extends beyond Detroit, touching education, infrastructure, and business ventures statewide. The Fords mastered a critical lesson. Legacy isn't just money, it's influence that spans generations. The DeVos name might ring a bell: Amway. But behind the global direct sales empire lies a family whose influence stretches far beyond commerce. The DeVos family has quietly shaped Michigan's political and economic landscape for decades. Through strategic donations, think tanks, and foundations, they influence policy, education, and business initiatives across the state. Schools, charter programs, and non-profit organizations often bear the fingerprints of DeVos funding, subtly steering Michigan's social and economic direction. But their reach doesn't stop there. With investments in real estate, healthcare, and hospitality, the family ensures their wealth continues to generate influence across industries. They play a long game, leveraging both money and political clout to protect and expand their empire. The DeVos family exemplifies a crucial truth. In Michigan, wealth isn't just about businesses, it's about shaping the rules of the game itself. Not every powerful family craves the spotlight. Enter the Little family, industrialists whose influence in Michigan spans generations but rarely hits headlines. From steel manufacturing to logistics, their businesses underpin much of Michigan's infrastructure, quietly driving jobs, commerce, and economic growth. The Littles have a knack for strategic acquisitions. Over decades, they've expanded from small regional factories to diversified holdings that touch transportation, energy, and heavy industry. Their moves are calculated: buy low, optimize, and integrate, creating businesses that are essential to Michigan's economy, yet largely invisible to the public. Beyond business, the Littles strategically invest in real estate, banking, and tech startups, ensuring each generation remains wealthy and influential. They don't seek media attention. Their power comes from control over the flow of Michigan's commerce. Their story reveals a subtle truth. True power often operates quietly, shaping entire economies without fanfare. The Kircher family may not appear on flashy headlines, but in Michigan, their influence is monumental. With roots in banking and finance, the Kirchers have quietly guided the flow of capital across the state for decades, fueling businesses, real estate, and industrial expansion. By strategically acquiring regional banks and investment firms, they've ensured that Michigan's money stays under their oversight, granting them leverage over development projects, startups, and major corporate moves. Beyond banking, their investments extend to energy, healthcare, and even emerging tech, creating a web of influence that reaches far beyond traditional finance. Their power is not just economic, it's social. By funding universities, scholarships, and local initiatives, the Kirchers shape communities, building networks that ensure their family legacy remains untouchable. In Michigan, money talks, but the Kirchers show that money plus strategy and discretion speaks louder than any headline. The Van Andel family is a name that resonates across Michigan, not just for wealth, but for influence intertwined with philanthropy. Co-founder of Amway alongside Richard DeVos, Jay Van Andel built a fortune that extended beyond the direct sales empire into real estate, healthcare, and civic initiatives. Their power lies in a twofold approach: industrial impact and social influence. While their businesses generate massive revenue, their philanthropic foundations strategically fund medical research, arts, and education, subtly shaping public priorities. Hospitals, museums, and research centers across Michigan bear their name, quietly cementing the family's legacy. Unlike other families who seek visibility through politics, the Van Andels leverage public good as influence, ensuring that their reach touches citizens' lives directly while maintaining private control of wealth and business interests. In Michigan, influence isn't just inherited, it's engineered through visibility and impact, often under the radar. Michigan's economic landscape isn't shaped by a single family, it's a network of alliances. One of the most powerful is the subtle, yet strategic, connection between the Ford and DeVos families. While each dynasty wields influence independently, their collaboration amplifies control over business, politics, and philanthropy. Through joint ventures, board memberships, and coordinated investments, the families create a web of mutual leverage that impacts industries from automotive to finance, education to healthcare. Their partnerships extend into political spheres, guiding policy decisions that favor their long-term economic interests. This isn't about rivalry, it's about synchronized influence. By aligning resources, these dynasties ensure Michigan's economy moves in predictable directions, often before the public even notices. The lesson is clear. Real power isn't always about ownership alone, it's about strategic alliances that amplify control across generations. Michigan's economy isn't just shaped by today's decisions, it's influenced by multi-generational planning. Families like the Fords, DeVos, Van Andels, and Kirchers are not merely maintaining wealth, they are actively designing the state's future. Through investments in emerging industries from electric vehicles and tech startups to renewable energy and healthcare innovation, they're positioning the next generation to inherit not just money, but economic dominance. Educational programs, scholarships, and business incubators funded by these families ensure that talent pipelines align with their strategic vision. Succession planning is meticulous. Board seats, trusts, and corporate structures are designed to protect wealth while maintaining influence. Even when public leadership shifts, the families remain invisible stewards of Michigan's economy, quietly steering policies, commerce, and innovation. The question isn't whether they'll maintain control, it's how far their influence will extend beyond the next generation. While the Fords, DeVos, Van Andels, and Kirchers dominate headlines, Michigan's economy is also quietly shaped by lesser-known dynasties. Families who own regional manufacturing companies, logistics networks, real estate holdings, and local banks operate below the public radar, yet their combined influence is immense. These families often avoid publicity, but their decisions affect employment, infrastructure, and investment across the state. They collaborate through informal networks, industry associations, and local chambers of commerce, aligning economic growth with their long-term interests. From funding niche startups to controlling supply chains in essential industries, their reach is strategic and deliberate. They may not have iconic names, but together, these hidden players reinforce the economic ecosystem that keeps Michigan's wealth concentrated. The truth is clear, the state's prosperity isn't random. It's guided by generations of calculated influence, investment, and discretion. After decades of influence, one truth emerges. Michigan's economy isn't shaped by chance, it's engineered by a handful of billionaire families. They don't just invest, they strategize. They don't just donate, they influence. They don't just own businesses, they control the levers of commerce, policy, and public perception. From automotive empires to finance, real estate, healthcare, and education, these families ensure that Michigan's wealth flows in predictable directions. Through alliances, philanthropy, and multi-generational planning, their reach extends beyond boardrooms into communities, schools, and state politics. Even as industries evolve, their influence adapts, securing dominance for generations to come. The real secret, power and wealth in Michigan aren't just inherited, they're cultivated, protected, and expanded with precision. And while the public sees buildings, jobs, and institutions, only a few understand who quietly pulls the strings behind the state's economic engine. Now that you've seen how a handful of billionaire families quietly control Michigan's economy, the real question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Understanding power and influence is the first step to shaping your own financial future. Hit like if you found this eye-opening and want more deep dives into hidden wealth and influence. Subscribe to the channel for daily insights on the families, empires, and strategies shaping the world's economy. Comment below. Which family or strategy surprised you the most? Your answer could spark the next great discussion. Share this video with friends who think wealth is just luck, it's strategy, connections, and legacy. Remember, power isn't always visible. The more you know, the smarter you can play the game.